The battle rages on between Cardano and Ethereum as a new blockchain development trends report is issued. Cardano has surpassed Ethereum in terms of the number of GitHub commits per month. GitHub commits are an estimated indicator of a blockchain community's underlying health. Results show that Cardano led with 701 GitHub code repository is 24% higher than its commits from the previous years, whereas Ethereum came in second place with 447. So things are definitely heating up between the two ecosystems, and we have, of course, got to acknowledge the recent FUD that's been out there regarding concurrency and some issues that a few decentralized exchanges have been having. This is all about whether you can have more than one transaction per block, and we have seen things like MindSwap shut down their testnet following this concurrency issue. Essentially a single block representing a single transaction. This is a big setback for transaction heavy DeFi applications which rely on blockchain based smart contracts for every function. Nonetheless, however, Cardano has defended its smart contract design by saying it is a feature and not a bug. Its design improves the security and reduces the probability of unexpected fees. Moreover, concurrency issues alike the aforementioned are avoidable. Okay, so unlike things like Ethereum where bugs are very common, that might be where you initially want to jump straight to say there's a bug here. This is actually a built-in feature designed specifically to keep things more secure and of course to keep costs predictable. So I think this is where we have issues with the learning curve that it takes to actually build decentralized applications upon it. With that being said though, I think once you actually start to understand how this system works, understand its features and benefits, I think you can avoid all of these issues. So I really wanted to kind of start this video off by talking about the fantastic news that there is a very healthy Cardano community, lots of GitHub, almost double that of what is going on with the Ethereum chain, and despite the FUD, there is some fantastic things to come. So in this video, guys, we're going to dive into the recent price action of ADA to see exactly what is going on there and what we might be expecting to happen next as smart contracts only roll out tomorrow. As we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, then do hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell and select all notifications. In doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. Right, with all that said, done, and out of the way, let's dive on down into the desktop and take a look at what is going on with Cardano. Okay guys, we're going to start things off with this weekly chart, like we usually do, and we'll talk about these 5 impulse waves to the upside, and I really want to just kind of reassure people that the structure here is still intact and there isn't anything major kind of going wrong with the structure for the long term. We can also see that things started back in March of 2020, and really kind of wave 1 peaked out in July of 2020. Wave 2, which was your first correction wave, was actually quite flat in its nature and did bottom out in September of 2020. Here we then start to see by the end of the year going into the new year a nice strong impulse wave to the upside, where we can see things peaking out in May of 2021. From our low of March 2020 and our high of May 2021, we've seen 14,000% in gains, which is fantastic. This was then followed by a short, sharp correction wave of wave 4 here, which bottomed out with a double tap. We had the first hit on that low area on the 21st of June, followed by the second one on the 19th of July. Ultimately, that correction wave took us into the oversold area, and now we start to grow back to the upside. We can see that during wave 1, we were overbought for quite some time. We entered this area in May 2020, and we did not leave here until August of 2020. The same can be said for wave 3. We spent a bit of time up in the overbought area. We entered this area in November of 2020, and we did not leave it until March of 2021. So right now, entering the overbought area in the same way that we have seen previously, knowing that we can be up here for several months before we actually go back down to the downside and start talking about a bear market. Overall, the correction that we've seen so far is pretty much in line with some of these other corrections that we have in the space, even during this kind of impulse wave to the upside. So overall, nothing is really going wrong with this, and everything is still on track to kind of come to a good close at the end of the year. Now, we obviously have several different targets associated with everything that we're talking about here for this fifth wave. The Fibonacci retracement tool, which we'll get into in a moment, shows $7.22 as the peak for the bull run, but I do think that we are actually going to blast past that. And the reason for this is I think that ultimately there's a lot of things that technical data does not know. It does not know about those GitHub repositories, for example, and all those commits. They are significantly higher than that of Ethereum, and what we want to do is this particular data doesn't know what's being built on the ecosystem, what is coming, what is migrating over from Ethereum to Cardano, and all of that good stuff. So what we're going to start doing is, once we have the smart contracts launched, and we'll see this potentially sideways trade for a while, and then we're going to start seeing volume come in, and because of all these new projects launching on the ecosystem. This could take us up to that $10 range. This is my first kind of assumption of where things are likely to go. From here, we have $15, $20, and $25. And again, this is where we just speculate as to how high things are likely to go. Right now, we do not know until we start seeing some of the new data actually flow into the technicals. But for now, I think $10 is a nice stretch on the $7.22, and a target that we should all kind of have in mind. It's a nice round number, so it will have a bit of a psychological barrier to it. Other than that, I do think we could potentially blast straight on past there, as we are expecting a significant amount of adoption of the Cardano ecosystem with those smart contracts going live. It will not be instantaneous though. We're not expecting that the 12th to come around and an instant green candle is just going to straight to the upside. In fact, we're going to have to wait for launches of several projects and several migrated projects from the Ethereum ecosystem to the Cardano ecosystem, and we'll see a nice steady growth to the upside. Okay, nothing will be instantaneous, and everything doesn't move in straight lines. You have a nice steady flow with nice steady corrections. Right, let's jump down into our daily. This is where we see most of the kind of current stuff that's been going on. And really want to talk about the kind of peak up here, obviously setting new all-time highs up on the 2nd of September. The slight pullback, Bitcoin's pullback, and then the recovery that we've had so far. We can see that we're in an interesting zone just here, but there is again an interesting kind of pullback that we can see in line with the breakthrough of our 786 area just here. And we'll get into that in a moment on the hourly, right? But we can also see that we're incredibly oversold here on our daily, which is fantastic to see, because this is where we were when we're all the way down at this bottom area. So now we have this kind of growth pattern that we've seen previously in terms of all of that, that could be achieved yet again now for Cardano. So again, looking to really get some traction going with it on the Cardano side, as we go after the first target of $3.37. And the resistance line here is very strong, but pushing past that $2.97 and pushing up towards $3.37 should be something that we could see within the next few weeks, I would have thought. As long as Bitcoin decides to kind of play game and behaves itself, of course. As we jump down into our hourly view, this is where we start to see some of the more recent kind of price action and what has been going on. Here we can see that we're overbought, so we are expecting a short pullback here in terms of our current price. So overbought area on the stochastic, we will be looking for a correction. Although we can be sustained up here for a while, this is a shorter time frame, so we are more than likely going to pull back probably within the next 24 hours or so. That pullback could take us down to some interesting areas. I'm just going to try to highlight a few. This seems like a very sensible area, so let me just grab my horizontal rate here. This area just here seems like a pretty sensible zone, which would put us at about $2.32. And again, we could just overextend that to $2.29 area. Okay, so a small pullback before we actually get that traction moving back to the upside. Overall, what we are looking for is basically higher highs to consistently be set. Or higher lows, I should say. So what we can see here is the initial pullback from Bitcoin taking us down into this area here. We then have another a higher low set just up here. Okay, so this low is higher than this low, and then we set another low area here, but this is a higher low than this one and this one. So we are setting a bunch of higher lows. As long as we continue to do that, that's going to be a bullish sentiment that allows us to continue the growth to the upside. Okay, so overall, we got to be mindful over where we are sat here, and obviously just be aware that we are looking for short-term pullback, but long-term gain. We're oversold on the daily, and the weekly is in a pretty good position to continue its overbought area. So overall, the push to the upside is something that we are seeing on the larger time frames. It's only volatile on the smaller time frames, right? So we have to just keep our emotions in check as we continue the sideways trading and allow us to basically continue the push steadily to the upside, get that recovery under the belt, and then move to all-time highs. And we can take a look at a couple of interesting things on the charts here in terms of downward trend. So there is a downward trend forming here from this kind of motion. And again, there's an upward trend line that we should also kind of acknowledge, which would be over here. Okay, so again, we'll be looking to see if this intersects well for tomorrow, whether we're going to push to the upside or have that break. And that is very much needed on the back of the smart contracts. Usually though, with something like fantastic news like smart contracts, you usually find a break to the downside as people sell the news. However, we've kind of seen a lot of the selling already occur, that we actually have been now primed for a good break to the upside. So all is to play for here as we start to see things actually unfold. And of course, with smart contracts going live tomorrow, I think there's going to be a few happy people who maybe were gambling and betting that Cardano smart contracts will launch before October the 1st, and some very unhappy individuals who were betting against the Cardano ecosystem launching those smart contracts on October the 1st. Neither way, it's fantastic to see that smart contracts are looking to launch, and it is a bit of a learning curve, but if you're wanting to know a little bit more of the differences between Solidity and Haskell, we did an interview with Dr. 𝗕𝗪𝗀𝗀 from Singularity.net. He is migrating from, I say migrating, actually building on top of the Cardano ecosystem. And he is very familiar with his current dApp running on the Ethereum ecosystem. He compares Solidity to Haskell, and you're able to kind of understand, the benefits of Haskell over Solidity and everything that is going on there with Marlowe as well. So do check that out if you want to get the insight as to why Dr. 𝗕𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀 has said it's such a superior system overall, much better than that of the Cardano ecosystem. So do check it out if that is of interest to you. Guys, hopefully you have found this brief update on Cardano useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one.